Good morning, legends. I hope you're having the most amazing day. Hope you had a great weekend and welcome to the beginning of a new trading week. Bitcoin looks like it had a dramatic breakdown yesterday and then dramatic shoot straight up. We're going to get into that. This is the 1 hour time frame. We're going to zoom out a little bit and really put things into perspective. In today's video, I'm going to show you what I think is going to happen next for Bitcoin, some key things that we need to watch out for, and also a couple of different entries that are different to the W that you may not have seen before on this channel, but are definitely entries worth looking out for. So let's get into it. Zooming out, let's have a look at the overall market. Up here on the top right hand corner is the channel that we have been watching on the daily for a long time. Now, there were a lot of comments on Twitter last night that this channel had broken. I believe if you draw this channel from the candle closes, you did have a wick breakdown here. However, that's never how I've drawn this channel. I've always drawn it wick to wick, as these two wicks here did create the start of the bottom trend line. So for me, the channel has not yet broken and we are still in safe territory. We do have this daily M pattern. We have had the breakdown, which is level 1 drop, and potentially yesterday level 2 drop on the daily. The other thing to note is that this candle here and this candle here that is in the same breakdown could potentially be level 1 and 2 as well, and this could be level 3. So if it turns out that that is that, which we will know once market structure actually changes. So far we only have one daily green candle, but if after this green candle we do get a market structure change, then this M pattern into level 3 drop would have played out. As I've always mentioned, however, we are not safe on Bitcoin until we get above this dotted line, which is currently, if we were to head straight up, it's sitting at around 43,400. We are nowhere near there yet. Looking at Ethereum, Ethereum's looking great for a push up, pull back to retrace, potential continuation. Let's draw fibs on that. So it looks like we just touched on the 61.8 fibs. This is basically last chance if Ethereum is to remain bullish. We want to see it push out from here. Current candle's looking good. However, I am definitely filming this before the daily close, so need to reassess. Anything can happen and this candle can definitely change before the daily candle closes. Looking at USDT dominance, this range is just extended. We are really hovering at that monthly resistance. Do like this big wick to the top of the current candle. Again, let's see how that closes, but this is potentially also forming an M pattern. Now, the M pattern on this will mean that there is a higher low instead of a lower low. I don't like those personally if I'm trading them. However, it is a valid M pattern. So that's one thing to watch out for. Anyone in gold probably wants to be a bit careful. We've broken that daily support there, so time to be a bit cautious about gold. Nasdaq has lately been better correlated to Bitcoin than S&P, so I've switched this one out. If we zoom out, you can see here we had this breakdown here, which was here, and then bounced off a previous support. So watching this one to see if that can get some movement out as well, and that will give us a bit more confidence in Bitcoin as well. Dixie is still flying, so when Bitcoin pushes up and Dixie pushes up, it's a bit of a mystery because it's not supposed to work that way. So let's just see if we get to this monthly level at 1 or 102 and reject there. We'll have to see at the time what that actually does to the market in general. All right, let's get into Bitcoin. Now, zooming out on the daily, as I mentioned to you, this was the channel that we need to stay in order to be safe. This was the last level I marked on my last update, which now gets moved across a little. I was mentioning around this price action here that if we pushed up and couldn't get past this channel here, we are still bearish. And so zooming in on that area, you can see that we wicked right under that channel. So whilst we have a really nice bullish candle last night, I would not say that we are bullish now, because this was a clear rejection here. And really, if you draw a trend line, we haven't even crossed a trend line yet. So even though we have some nice bullish price action today, there's a lot of factors that we have to take into consideration before we assume a further move up. Let's take a quick look at the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, this was the weekend trap, just moved sideways. We opened the new week on Monday with the fake move. You can see that wick there. Price headed down back to the low of the week. week, and then we've shot straight out of there. Now I want to talk about why this happened and also why all of this happened before we actually get into what I think is going to happen next. So let's take a look at high block. Now I haven't yet refreshed this because I actually do want to show you what had happened in the past. When we opened yesterday, the delta was to the shorts and the leverage was at about 12 billion. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that 12 billion isn't really enough. By the way, if you are brand new to this channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that like button and smash the subscribe if you haven't already. Turn that bell notification to all so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. I do upload market updates 3 days a week and every now and then throw in a other tutorial on how to do something that is helpful to you in the crypto space. So if you like good honest TA without the 100k Bitcoin moonshots or 20k Bitcoins dying fear mongering, then you've come to the right channel. So be sure to subscribe for good honest unbiased TA. Now before the day had started over the weekend, we were sitting at this 12 billion. It's not enough. So the market maker had to induce more people to open short positions. So we had the first drop, which you can see here. That induced a few more short positions that worked, box ticked, and it brought us to 14 billion. 14 billion is still not enough to turn the market around. So we had another drop. And down here, you can see that brought in 16 billion. The goal was getting achieved, but we weren't quite there yet. So then we had the last dramatic drop, as I think it was the UK opened. And that brought our leverage to 21 billion. Now the market maker was in a position where they can sharply turn the market around and come back for all of these levels here to liquidate everyone who opened shorts on the last drop. So I'm going to refresh this and see what it looks like today. And as you can see here now, the short has dropped down to 8 billion. So we have flushed out a lot of those people who opened shorts late last night. And again, I say this almost on every video, but you don't short when the market is already dramatically dropping. This is all done by design, the power of the three. It's a psychological number. People believe things happen in threes, so the market maker will drop price 3 times. You can see it happened here yesterday. 1, 2, 3. They got what they wanted, then they sharply moved the market the other way. All of these people now liquidated. So let's go back to the charts. So now that we know that, I'm going to go down to the 1 hour chart and show you how could you have got this entry. There's probably a lot of FOMO in people who didn't buy support, who were waiting for W's, etc., thinking that they've now missed the move because the move is now all the way up here. Now, when it comes to the market maker method, there's actually 3 entries. The one that I talk about mostly on this channel because I find that it plays out the best is the W formation. So you have the initial low, then we come back and create a higher low. The point of this higher low is to trap people who open short positions here, and then price shoots out from there and we can get a 3-level rise from there onwards, as long as the W happens at the low of the week or the low of the day. Clearly we can see here on the 1 hour time frame, we didn't get that last night. The other type of entry is a head and shoulders. So you get one low, you get the second low, then you come back and create a higher low and we take off from there. Essentially, the second part of the inverse head and shoulders is just a W formation as well. Now the third one, which is what actually happened last night, is the V bottom. Now the problem with the V bottom is it's very hard to pick the entry because if you really think about it, it's only the left side of a W. So if you were to open a long position without having the experience to know this was a V bottom instead of a W, if you were to open a long position, it's at best a guess unless you know what you're looking for. So if you didn't catch this move and you're still a fairly new trader, now you know what it is, but don't feel bad that you didn't catch it because like every push up, there's always a retracement. Where we're at right now is price is struggling around the 800 EMA. So whilst it is good that we push past the 50, this is a positive sign. We still have the short delta. So market maker might want to take out some more shorts that are higher up. At some point in time, in order for this V to be confirmed, it has to come back to retest the 50 EMA and stay above it. The 50 is this blue line here. So if it comes back to retest anytime soon and stays above it, that's your confirmed entry, and we would expect that it will break the 200 EMA next. If that happens, the next step then is the 800 EMA, which is this one up here at 41,500. 41,500 is a key zone We've been there many times and rejected both sides of that number, so it does seem likely. So if you missed the big move last night, don't stress. There's always a pullback or a boardroom. Even if we just go sideways for the whole Asian session that's coming up, potentially even the whole UK session that's coming up, going sideways is going to bring price back because the EMA will smooth out as well, and price will do something like this. And then that's where you'll get your retest. So either price pulls back or it just goes sideways. Whichever one it is, we're waiting for price and the 50 EMA to meet. When they meet, as long as price stays above, you have an opportunity to open the next long position, as long as you get the final candle confirmation that is bullish. And then you would expect that this is going to become the rise level 2. And the next level that we'll be watching first is got to get past the 200 EMA. And if it can do that with some power and strength like this, and we're going to aim for the 800 EMA. So it's a very easy trade setup. I don't have a lot to talk about this session. This here is definitely going to be the safer entry than trying to pick the V bottom. It does come with a lot of experience to be able to pick that one, and sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. Let's take a very quick look at Ethereum. So again, once you zoom out on Ethereum, if you were to draw a straight trend line on Ethereum, you'll see that it's struggling right now at the third touch to that trend line. So it really could fall over. These things really could fall over where they are now. And anyone buying now would potentially be buying the top. So better to play it safe and wait for consolidation to give you a hint of breakout or a retest to confirm that this is a new uptrend. In my opinion, no one's missed out on anything at this point in time. Zooming in on the 1 hour, see where it starts to look like it's a bit more dramatic and like you missed out. But the reality is on this 1 hour, all of these EMAs are fairly horizontal. So it's not giving us an indication of a trend right now. The difference between ETH right now and Bitcoin is that ETH actually did push past the 200 and it's currently holding there. So two things for ETH, because ETH can be a bit of a beast and sometimes it doesn't retrace at all. It just consolidates and keeps going. So ideally, you do want a nice retracement to come back above the 50 again. So if we get that retracement, the 50 is angled up beautifully. So a retracement might come down to meet that. And that would be your entry. However, if we don't get that, again, price could just consolidate here for the whole Asian session. And if it does, you'll be looking for hints of a breakout on the UK or potentially US session tonight. If it turns out that you only get consolidation, I would not be opening a long position until you get a stop hunt. A stop hunt out of the consolidation is going to tell you that the market maker is trying to induce people to short here before they send the market up, so that they can stop out those shorts. So be on your game. If we go into consolidation, looking for stop hunt. If we pull back, looking for price to meet the 50 EMA for an entry. And finally, I actually really liked the setup of XRP last night. So I want to talk about that. This is what I actually drew out last night when price was down here. So far, we've got this peak right here. So that box is ticked, but now I want to see if we get that pullback. Again, we're only at the 50 EMA, so it may push up more and then come back to retest the 50. But the reason that I like XRP is actually because of the heat map. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, so zooming in on these candles, what I've got behind the candles is called the footprint. And the footprint gives you an idea of the actual field buys and sells as opposed to the heat map, which gives you the limit orders, short and long, above and below price. So what I actually really liked about this here was after we had this big dramatic breakdown, this candle right here, when you look at the footprint, the buys below the candle, see how we've got 7.6 million, 5.4, etc. So the buys at the bottom of this candle were higher than the sells. That's a really good sign because that tells you this is where people are willing to buy this and push price up. When you have a big green candle like this, but the buys are mostly at the top of the candle, that's a potential trap. So that's where market makers are inducing people to open long positions, but they really plan on turning price back down. So once I saw these buys here really quite high at the bottom of the candle, that gave me a lot of confidence in XRP. And it can be towards the bottom or the middle, that's fine, but you don't want to see higher buys at the top of a candle in a potential uptrend. So even here we had these really big orders in the middle part of this candle. So that was a good sign. So XRP, because of the heat map, looked really good for me. I did take an entry on XRP based off the V and the fact that this bottom here was at the previous low of the day. If I zoom out, this week here came right back to this low of the day here from the 24th of Feb. So for me, that was worth taking a V bottom entry. And now I just need to see if we do push up a little bit more or pull back from here or go into consolidation. And if so, it's exactly the same story. If we consolidate, I'll be looking for a stop hunt rise, or I'm looking for a pullback to retest any of these EMAs before continuation to the upside, and my targets are still the higher EMAs. So it's not too late to get in on XRP if it does give you that pullback. And finally, let's look at Solana. So Solana's in the same situation. Looked like it was going to create the head and shoulder pattern here, but it didn't come back for the right shoulder. It just kept going. So that's fine. But same thing, it may push up to this 200 EMA here. If it does, just let it go. You don't want to be buying after all of this. Price may push up, potentially reject here. If it does, then we want to come back as the 50 EMA meets price, and then there's a second chance entry once it does that. Let's take a quick look back at Bitcoin and the heat maps and see if any of this idea matches up with what is going on in the heat maps. So we can see some short levels here around where price currently is. This level here at 40,200. To match it up exactly, it's this level here, 40,200. So it's between 40,230 and 40,200 here. This is actually pushing price up because price is currently, as I film this, 40,260. It's getting filled now. That was 800 and it's now 770. That is actually really, really pushing price up aggressively. I wonder if that is price trying to get beyond the 200 EMA before we get a pullback. It's possible. For shorts above current price, there's only this here. These, in my opinion, aren't really big orders, and they kind of seem to be disappearing as price is aggressively pushing up, and those buys are still there. So at best, above price, trying to push us down just to get that retracement. At this point in time, at best, we've got 40,750 to 40,950, but it doesn't look like bears are around, to be honest. So on the chart, that is this level here. So it could be that the market maker is trying to push price up to get beyond the 200 EMA, and then maybe we'll consolidate around that level before any further move. Going into the Asian session, which will open after I've uploaded this video, we don't usually see a lot of price action. So we are currently in the dead zone where no one's really trading. So after this, once Asia opens, we will find the high and the low of the day, and that's where we start looking for a breakout once the UK session or US session starts. So it may be that once the Asian session opens that we start to get more shorts in. Because we're in the dead zone, there's just nothing there right now. Let's see if BitMEX can give me a better hint. So BitMEX has some big short orders coming in that looks a bit better. I usually do find BitMEX as a better indicator outside of normal market making hours. So that being the weekend and dead gap zone. So you can see here we've got this 7.4 million at 45.50. And then we've got that 3.7 there at 44.50. Not sure if that's going to be enough to bring a retracement. But yeah, again, what it does tell me is it's not time to FOMO into anything. Let the Asian session find the high and the low of the day. And then inside of that consolidation, we're going to look for wicks at the top of candles as fake outs. After a few of those, you'll usually find the stop hunt rise. Wait for the stop hunt rise because that's designed to stop you out. So don't jump in early. After the stop hunt, you can take a position. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope that was helpful. Also, don't forget, if you're not already, be sure to follow me on Twitter. Get my official social media links from the description of this video because there are a lot of scammers out there pretending to be me. If anyone ever private messages you and says that I trade for you or I can turn your money into more money, that is 100% not me. I don't do that. I don't trade for other people. But make sure you follow me because in between these updates, I do post important information on my Twitter, as I did last night when I let you guys know that there were buyers at around 38,000 and that the drop that we saw could have been the typical Monday fake move, which turns out it was. Have the most amazing day. I will see you guys tomorrow.